Hi, my name is Ashley Baber, and this is my persuasive speech about why marijuana should be legalized for medicinal purposes. Marijuana has been classified as a Scheduled 1 of the Controlled Substance Act. Congress decided to classify marijuana under this act because they believed it had, no medical use to it. Well, marijuana is apparently next to heroin on the most dangerous drug list. Marijuana and heroin next to each other. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't to me either. You know, 15 out of 20 states have deliberately ignored the Congress, so I don't see why that doesn't, say, hey, marijuana, they might have something to say, or maybe research could pop up that, can benefit the reasons why marijuana could really be effective for medicinal purposes. Yeah, Senate Bernie Sanders quotes, "I have real concerns about implications of the war on drugs. We have been engaged in it for decades and how a huge cost and destruction of a whole lot of lives of people who were never really involved in any violent crimes." Marijuana should be legalized since it benefits a person's all-around well-being, them as an individual, spiritually, emotionally, their health, and it also benefits society as a whole, I believe. Smoking marijuana helps relaxation come a lot more easier. It doesn't harm that person by smoking, or anybody really around them. It has been clinically proven to be an effective medicinal herb, for diseases such as arthritis, glaucoma, and even eating disorders. Encouraging fellow smokers to interact with each other, really creates a relaxed atmosphere, which, just helps everybody just enjoy each other's company and, work together. Which brings me to my first point. When marijuana is used, like I said, relaxation and stress alleviates a lot more quickly, in a lot safer way versus, people who resort to, getting drunk or, gambling. This is caused from the chemical changes from the THC in your brain. Uh, Opponents may look at marijuana and say, marijuana is a harmful drug, it's a gateway drug, it can injure your brain, your lungs, and impairs your ability to think and to process information and even to drive. So people would come up to me and ask me, well, Ashley, if marijuana does become illegal, how would you be able to, crack down on people who are smoking and driving? Well, the thing is, and I thought about that, is that, if marijuana was legal, for certain people who could really need it, they could, feel comfortable to smoke in their own home, like the own comfort of their home, so why would they want to smoke and drive? For a lot of people here nowadays, kids who, still smoke, think, well, I can't smoke at home, it's illegal, that can't be at my house, or, my parents aren't okay with that, that's a misdemeanor, or even a felony if you have enough of it. So people resort to, other ways of not getting caught, which is smoking and driving. Marijuana is less toxic and, obviously not addictive compared to alcohol and, tobacco. Alcohol has a direct relationship, leading to aggressiveness and, reckless behavior, which could lead to, being violent, maybe sexual assault, a lot more trips to the emergency room versus, marijuana trying to, less those chances. Is less likely. Alcohol has caused, 40,000 deaths per year, while marijuana has zero people have ever died from using marijuana, unless someone shot you and their name was marijuana. I don't understand if, alcohol and cigs are used for, leisure activities, why can't, marijuana, which is a lot safer drug, be used freely as well? I honestly wouldn't even doubt that, accidents that are involving alcohol would decrease, since people look at marijuana as being illegal or a misdemeanor or a felony if you have over 3 grams. So they resort to other legal things such as alcohol, which causes a lot more harm and danger versus marijuana. You know, there are thousands and thousands of drugs that have been, FDA approved, that, doctors prescribe patients, that also can help alleviate pain, such as Vicodin, Percocet, codeine, Oxycontin, which are highly addictive drugs, that even full-grown adults abuse. Marijuana has been proven to relieve symptoms of many, many, many conditions. I'll name a few. Like I said earlier, eating disorders, depression, AIDS, HIV, and it can even help from nausea from chemotherapy. I actually read a story, a very touching story, which I will never forget, about a little boy named Jaden. He is 6 years old, and since he was about maybe 9 months old to a year, I'm not sure. He has been taking 22 anti-seizure pills a day. He has a very rare form of epilepsy, and being prescribed those pills, highly addictive. This 6-year-old is addicted to 20 pills they had to cleanse him off of. Once he got to, the parents got to, their wits' end and had no idea what else to do for their child, they actually saw a commercial for medicinal marijuana, so they said, what the heck, let's give it a try. The first time they used medicinal marijuana, Jaden didn't have a seizure the whole day. The entire day. He goes from 45 seizures a day to not having one, all from, THC. And don't get me wrong, this little 6-year-old is not, sparking up a blunt. Please don't get me wrong. It is a concentrated form of THC. It's an oil. So Jaden doesn't, get high per se, but the properties used from marijuana help him in his seizures every day. I believe that, why use painkillers that have, a really horrible side effect that's extremely addictive for, everybody, young age and old age? Why use something that has really negative effects versus something that is natural and that is grown from the earth versus something that is chemically produced in a lab? If the government decided to legalize marijuana, it would benefit our nation in the most positive way. In California, marijuana consumers consume from 870 million to 2 billion worth of medicinal marijuana per year. That could translate to $70 million to $120 million in tax revenue per year for the state. Why are we not funding this? However, the only thing I have to say is that the federal government, doesn't really know the legislation for medicinal marijuana. So, dispensaries, they don't pay sales tax. So they actually kind of hide their financial records. So, the state doesn't potentially use that against them in court or, whatever the case may be. Legalizing the use of marijuana across the nation could honestly bring in $40 billion to $100 billion in new revenue. It would take away the revenue from organized, very highly dangerous drug lords and put it into our own U.S. economy. And by the looks of our economy nowadays, we could really use that. We could really use that right now. So I just don't see why marijuana isn't being taken more seriously. So the only reason why marijuana is under such strict supervision is because 30 years ago they thought it had no medical use. Now it's proven to be an effective medicinal herb. It's proven to have no physical addictive properties. It's less likely to be, it's less toxic than alcohol and tobacco. If it can help Jaden come over 50 seizures a day, who knows what it could do for other people, let alone our own U.S. economy. So let's wake up, America. Let's be smart here. Say yes to cannabis.